At the group's listing celebration banquet, my president husband tossed my termination letter, and in a reverse move hired a female college student who can do nothing as the chief assistant. Seeing this, the richest young master laughed and said, "I want to marry your wife. Now please welcome Mr. Chen Rui, president of Shengheng Group, to give a speech." The host's voice echoed through the golden banquet hall. More than 300 business elites raised their glasses, and the flashes from cameras crackled in a shower of light. I stood at the right side of the stage watching Chen Rui under the spotlights. He wore a custom Armani suit, and the tie on his chest was picked for him by me 3 days ago, a deep blue with a subtle pattern, symbolizing steadiness and ambition. He smiled with confidence and composure, waving to the audience. 3 years ago he was in debt of 50 million and the company was nothing but a shell. I was 6 months pregnant, finishing the last merger and acquisition plan on a laptop in the delivery room. The baby was born prematurely. He took a call about financing outside the operating room. The company was brought back to life and he said, "Honey, you are my good fortune." The company was about to go public and he said, "When the bell rings, I want to publicly thank you. Today is that day, but last night he asked me to sign something. Honey, it's just a formality, the HR documents before the listing." He handed me the sheet, his eyes flickering. I took a look at the resignation letter. It said, "Lin Shi voluntarily resigns due to personal reasons." "What does that mean?" I asked him. It's just for tax planning purposes. You don't receive a salary, just keep a name on it." He hugged my shoulder. "After the listing and the shares vest, you'll be a billionaire. Does this matter to you?" I signed it because I believed in him for 11 years, from college romance to marriage and children, from helping him start from scratch to standing here today. I believed in him for 11 years. Today I want to thank someone. Chen Rui's voice pulled me back to reality. The audience was quiet. I took a deep breath, preparing to walk onto the stage. Thanks to my chief assistant, Miss Zhao Xiaohe. The applause was thunderous. I froze in place. The spotlight shone on the first row of the audience. A girl in her early 20s stood up, wearing a Chanel suit, long hair cascading over her shoulders, smiling sweetly. She walked toward the stage, her high heels clicking on the marble floor. Sounding crisp, Chen Rui reached out to greet her, and the two stood side by side on the stage. Although Zhao Xiaohe is young, her abilities are outstanding. In these 3 months she has helped me handle a great deal of work and is an indispensable talent for Shengheng. Chen Rui's voice echoed through the speakers. "I hereby appoint Zhao Xiaohe as the group's chief strategy officer." There were whispers from the audience. I know what they are saying. This girl was selling cosmetics in a shopping mall 3 months ago, unable to understand even financial statements. At the same time, Chen Rui turned the topic to me and looked toward the side of the stage. Ms. Lin Shi, due to long-term disengagement from the workforce, can no longer adapt to the company's development needs. After negotiation, the labor relationship is terminated effective immediately. The big screen lit up. My dismissal document appeared above in black and white with my signature. 300 pairs of eyes looked at me. I heard someone laugh, someone whispering how miserable, and someone filming a video. Chen Rui didn't even look at me. He raised his glass and addressed the crowd. "Thank you Ms. Lin Shi for your past contributions. Let us wish her all the best in the future." Hypocritical, disgusting. I clenched my fists, the nails digging into my flesh, but I didn't move. I can't lose my composure in this kind of occasion. That would only make him more smug. Zhao Xiaohe stood beside him, throwing me a meaningful look. Not guilt, not pity, but provocation. "Interesting." A voice spoke from behind me, low with a hint of mischief. I turned around. Shen Mo, the only son of the richest man, heir to Huan Teng Group, and the 7th richest Shen family member on the Forbes list. He wore a dark grey suit, no tie, the top 2 buttons of his shirt undone, holding a glass of red wine in his hand. He looked at Chen Rui on stage, a smile at the corner of his mouth. "Young Master Shen." I nodded. "Lin Shi." He called my name as if we were very familiar. "Your husband publicly dumps you. What do you plan to do?" I didn't answer. He took a step closer and lowered his voice. "I looked into your resume. At 32, a master's in finance from Wharton, 2 years at Goldman Sachs, and after returning to the country, you managed the IPOs of 3 enterprises worth hundreds of billions. Chen Rui's company could go from a debt of 50 million to an IPO entirely because of your connections and your plans." I looked at him. "What do you want to say?" "I want to say," he took a sip of his drink, "you were humiliated by a worthless person. On stage, Chen Rui was still boasting about Shunheng's future plans. He said they would reach the industry's top 3 within 3 years and exceed a market value of 100 billion within 5. Those words were all written by me in the PPT. He didn't even change the punctuation. Zhao Xiaohe stood beside him, nodding frequently, occasionally saying a few words, all of them being layman's remarks, but no one pressed him on them because this was a celebration banquet and everyone only spoke polite words. Lin Shi, Shen Mo suddenly said, "I want to marry you." I frowned. What? He didn't answer me and walked straight onto the stage. "Sir Shen." The host recognized him and his voice even changed tone. "Please welcome Mr. Shen Mo from Huoteng Group to the stage for a speech." The room fell quiet again. Shen Mo rarely attends public events, let alone taking the stage voluntarily. Everyone was wondering what he would say. Chen Rui's expression changed. He knew Shen Mo's clout. Huoteng Group's market value was 500 billion, 50 times that of Shunheng. He hurried forward with a big smile. "Sir Shen, welcome to our occasion. We are honored by your presence." Shen Mo didn't look at him and walked straight to the microphone. "Today's performance is wonderful." He scanned the audience. "But I have a suggestion." Chen Rui was stunned. "What suggestion?" Shen Mo turned and looked at me at the side of the stage and held out his hand. "I want to marry your wife." The whole room erupted. The flashes went flashing like crazy. The reporters' hands trembled with excitement. The son of a rich man proposing in public. And the ring recipient was the recently humiliated wife of the president. This news would stay hot on the trending list for 3 days. Chen Rui's face turned ashen. "Young Master Shen, what do you mean by this?" "Literally." Shen Mo withdrew his hand and looked at him. "Since you think she doesn't deserve you, I'll take over by the way." He paused. "The 3-year plan you just mentioned sounds familiar." "It seems it was a plan my wife prepared for a company 3 years ago, and that company has since gone bankrupt." There are people in the audience who can't hold back their laughter. Chen Rui's face turned from pale blue to purple. "Shen Mo, don't go too far." "Go too far?" Shen Mo smiled. "You publicly fired the wife who helped you win the world and you hired a vase who can't even understand a financial report. Do you think that's going too far?" Zhao Xiaohe's face turned deathly white and she stepped back. I stood at the side of the stage watching all of this. My heart was racing, but my mind was unusually clear. I knew Shen Mo didn't truly want to marry me. He was playing a game, but I needed to think clearly about what position I held in this game. "Lin Shi," Shen Mo turned to me. "Will you come with me?" The whole room's attention focused on me again. Chen Rui looked at me, his gaze a mix of threat and pleading. He knew that if I left with Shen Mo, tomorrow's headlines would be President Shen's wife takes the son of the wealthiest man into her embrace, and the stock price of his newly listed company would plummet. Zhao Xiaohe looked at me with a look of fear. She knew she had become a joke. 300 business elites looked at me, some with expectation, some with pity, some with schadenfreude. I took a deep breath and stepped out from the side of the stage. The high heels clacked on the marble, each step like stepping on Chen Rui's face. I walked up to Shen Mo, looked up at him. He towered over me by a full head, his eyes bright, the corners of his mouth wearing an almost imperceptible smile. "Shen Shao," I said, "a marriage proposal needs a betrothal gift." Shen Mo raised an eyebrow. "What do you want?" 15% of Shunheng's shares, I said. "The market opens tomorrow. I want to see you buy it from the secondary market." Chen Rui rushed over. "Lin Shi, are you crazy? That would be billions." I didn't look at him, only fixed my eyes on Shen Mo. Shen Mo smiled, reaching into his suit pocket to pull out a business card and handed it to me. "Tomorrow at 10 am Dinghui Capital, I'll be waiting for you." He neither said yes nor no, but 2 characters were printed on the card. "Chairman." I took the business card, turned and left the banquet hall. A roar came from behind. Chen Rui's furious shout. "Lin Shi, you stop right there. You signed a termination letter. You've got nothing left." I halted my steps and looked back at him. "Chen Rui," I said, "you say I've been out of work for 3 years and am waste then. Let's bet on it." "Bet on what?" 3 months. I raised 3 fingers. "I will make your Shunheng surname Lin." Chen Rui sneered. "With you a housewife." I ignored him and pushed the door to leave. The corridor was empty. Only the sound of my high heels. The phone vibrated. A message from my best friend. "You're trending. Shunheng CEO publicly humiliates his wife. The readership has reached 30 million. Immediately following came the second item. There's also the richest man's son proposes to Lin Shi with 80 million views. Third item. Your former colleague said you're the best Chinese student at Wharton. Chen Rui is the one riding on your coattails. Fourth item. Someone dug up Zhao Xiaoha's resume. 3 months ago he was still selling cosmetics. This is hilarious. I didn't reply to a single one. I dialed a number and after half a ring it connected. President Lin. The voice trembled. Old Jew, I said. Pull up all financial data for Shengheng Group from the past 3 years including related party transactions and off-balance sheet arrangements. Understood. Anything else? Get in touch with all the project companies I've managed. Tell them I'm back, that we're forming a team. General Lin, you're finally back. We've all waited for you for 3 years. I hung up the phone and walked into the elevator. The moment the elevator doors closed, I saw Chen Rui chase after me, his face deathly pale. He probably recalled how I helped him eliminate his competitor back then. The elevator is going down. I straighten my hair in front of the mirror, release the updo, and let my long hair fall over my shoulders. The person in the mirror has a sharp gaze, exactly the same as 3 years ago. Shinmo's business card is in my hand, with gilded lettering, concise and powerful. I laughed. Chen Rui, you made a fatal mistake. You should not have let me wake up at 2 in the morning. I got home. A car belonging to Chen Rui was parked at the villa gate. He had arrived before me. The living room lights were all on and he was throwing things inside. I pushed the door open and a crystal ashtray flew toward me, narrowly missing my ear and crashing against the door. Lin Shi, are you fucking crazy? Chen Rui roared with red eyes. Do you know what you just did? Who is Shenmo? If you offend him, our whole family will be ruined. I bent down, picked up the ashtray and put it back on the coffee table. Get your facts straight, I said. He came looking for me, not the other way around. Then why didn't you refuse? He lunged forward and grabbed my wrist. You walked away with another man in front of more than 300 people. How am I supposed to face anyone? I shook his hand off. You fired me in front of more than 300 people and hired that cosmetics seller. Have you ever thought about how I'm supposed to face anyone? That's a work assignment, he shouted. Zhao Xiaohe was introduced by Director Wang. I can't risk offending him. Mr. Wang, I smiled. Which Mr. Wang? Wang Zhongwo, the third largest shareholder of Shengheng. He only holds 8% of the shares. You can't afford to offend him. Chen Rui was at a loss for words. Chen Rui, stop pretending. I sat down on the sofa. Zhao Xiaohe is your mistress, right? 3 months ago you were on a business trip in Sonia. I have the hotel room records. His face changed abruptly. Are you investigating me? I'm not investigating you. I picked up an apple from the tea table and took a bite. You're stupid yourself. The room was booked with the company account. There's a record in the financial system. He fell silent for a few seconds, then sneered. Even if you know, so what? You've already signed the termination letter and the shares are specified in the prenuptial agreement. You won't get anything. So I don't want your shares, I said. What I want is Shengting. Just you. He laughed. You haven't worked in 3 years, Lin Shi. The financial circle has forgotten you long ago. Do you know what era it is now? Blockchain, metaverse, AI. Do you understand? I don't understand, I said, but I know how to do mergers and acquisitions. His expression changed again. Chen Rui. I stood up. I'll give you one chance now. Revoke the termination, publicly apologize, cut ties with Zhao Xiaohu, and pretend nothing happened. He stared at me for 5 seconds then laughed. A loud laugh. Lin Shi, have you been sitting at home and gone stupid? He shook his head. Do you think you're still that Lin who masterminded multi-billion acquisitions? Now you are just a housewife. Without my platform, you're nothing. I nodded. Okay, what? Tomorrow at 10 I'm going to Dinghui Capital. I pick up my bag. By the way, that 3-year loan you owe to the bank, it matures next month, 800 million. Are you ready? He froze. How did you know? Because I helped you negotiate that loan, I said. The interest rate is 2 points below the market. The condition is that after 1 year you pledge your shares. The stock price has just gone public. The pledge ratio isn't enough, and the bank won't renew the loan. His face turned white. Chen Rui, you have 3 months left. I walked to the door. Enjoy it while you can. Lin Shi, he chased out. You can't do this. We still have a child. You can't take away the father from the child. I stopped in my tracks. Child, I turned to look at him. When you were outside the delivery room negotiating financing, did you think about the child? When you asked me to sign the dismissal letter, did you think about the child? When you publicly humiliated me, did you think about the child? He opened his mouth but couldn't speak. I'll take the child, I said. From today on, you don't deserve to be his father. I get into the car and start the engine. In the rearview mirror, Chen Rui stands at the villa gate, his figure growing smaller and smaller. I press the accelerator and drive into the dark, 9:30 a.m. Financial Street. I parked the car in the underground garage and took the elevator to the 38th floor. The Dinghui Capital logo appeared before me in golden letters, understated. Luxury. The receptionist was a woman in her 20s. She paused when she saw me. Hello, who are you here to see? Shen Mo, Mr. Shen. She flipped through the appointment log. I'm sorry, Mr. Shen didn't have an appointment this morning. Tell him Lin she has arrived. She hesitated, then dialed the internal line. After saying a few words, her expression changed. She hurriedly stood up. President Lin, President Shen is waiting for you on the top floor. I'll take you up. The elevator reached the top floor. And the doors opened to a huge open-plan office. A whole wall of floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over the entire Financial Street. Shen Mo sat behind the desk with a pile of documents spread out before him. Today he wore a white shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbows, no tie, the collar open. You're here. He looked up at me and pointed to the chair opposite. Sit. I sat down. Did you have breakfast? He asked. I did. I haven't eaten yet. He pressed the intercom. Send in 2 breakfasts. I looked at him. Young Master Shen, I didn't come for breakfast. I know. He leaned back in the chair. You came to ask for Shengheng's 15% stake. Can you give it? Yes, he said. But I need you to do me a favor. What is it? Acquire Dinghui. I froze. Dinghui is your family's company, right? He smiled. But my dad is going to give the shares to my brother. I need to take them back. I understand intrafamily power struggles are even more brutal than business wars. Why are you asking me? I asked. Because you are the best Manda expert I have ever seen, he said. And you now have enough drive. You need Shengheng, I need Dinghui. We can help each other succeed. Breakfast was brought in, 2 sandwiches, 2 cups of black coffee. He picked up a sandwich and took a bite. Think it over. I didn't eat, staring at him. Conditions. I'll give you 20% of Dinghui's shares. You help me take control, he said. And I'll help you acquire Shengheng with funds provided by Huoteng Group. Interest-free loan. Interest-free. No interest. He nodded. Consider it a betrothal gift. I took a sip of coffee. Shen Xiao, what exactly do you want? He set down his sandwich and looked at me intently. I want a partner, he said. Someone who can fight alongside me, not a trophy, not decor, a true partner. Why me? Because you are the only one who can stay calm and negotiate with me after being publicly humiliated, he said. From the moment you walked in until now, you didn't cry, curse Chen Rui, or complain. You went straight to business. This kind of woman I've been looking for a long time. I was silent for a few seconds. Deal. He reached out his hand. I grasped. His hand was warm and the grip was just right. Right, he suddenly said. Zhao Xiaohe was arranged by me. My hand paused. What? She is my person. He smiled. I had her apply to Chen Rui's company. I had her seduce Chen Rui. I had her stand on the stage today. I let go of his hand and stepped back. Why? Because I want you to hate him. Shen Mo stood up, walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. I want you to completely give up any fantasy about him. I want you to go all out. Are you scheming against me? I'm helping you. He turned to me. The difference is that scheming harms you, helping you helps you see the truth. A man like Chen Rui isn't worthy of wasting any of your feelings. I stared at him for 10 seconds. Is there anything else I don't know? Yes, he said. The last Manda deal you helped Chen Rui with 3 years ago, the company that was acquired was my family's. I was shocked. Are you saying Huating was acquired by Shengheng, not being acquired? He shook his head. It was us deliberately losing. My dad wanted to test my ability, have me run that company, and I ended up lose badly. So you hacked me. I hacked all your cases. He said. I found that you didn't lose because you weren't capable, but because Chen Rui stabbed you in the back. He leaked your plan to the other side in advance. I felt blood rush to my head. What did you say? You did that last Manda case, and every time the other side offered a little higher than yours, you thought it was your misjudgment, Shen Mo said. Actually, Chen Rui told them your floor price. He deliberately let you lose, because he doesn't want you to be too successful. He's afraid you'll surpass him. I clenched my fists. After 3 years, the mystery was finally solved. I had prepared for that Manda deal for 6 months, run countless data simulations, and it shouldn't have lost, but every offer was off by just a little, and I thought I had miscalculated. So it was Chen Rui. He started to be wary of me from that moment. So you know now, Shen Mo said. The person you married has been calculating you from the very beginning. I took a deep breath and pushed all emotions down. Give me the materials, I said, all of Shungheng's financial data and Dinghui's equity structure. Shenmo took a USB drive from the drawer. Everything is inside. I took the USB drive and stood up. 3 months, I said. I want Chen Rui to have nothing left. I'll give you 4 months, Shenmo said. Make it look good. I walk toward the door. Lin Shi, he calls after me. I turn around. You look beautiful today, he says. More beautiful than last night. I didn't answer and I pushed the door open and left in the corridor. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Laoju. Director Lin, the data has been aligned. Shungheng has a problem, a very big problem. I replied. Speak. Related party transactions are abnormal over 3 years. Net outflow exceeded 200 million, all into Chen Rui's personal account. Also, his share pledge ratio is as high as 70%. If the bank calls for a margin, he will be liquidated. I laughed. Chen Rui, you're done for. Dinghui Capital Rooftop Conference Room, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I sit at the head of the conference table, facing 20 people. Old Ju is at the front. Next to him are lawyer Liu, accountant Wang, analyst Zhong, all veterans who worked on projects with me 3 years ago. Is everyone here? I asked. All set, old Ju said. There are more than 20 people waiting for news. You nod and they'll start immediately. I skimmed the list. All of them are top experts in the industry, mergers and acquisitions, legal, finance, public relations, each field represented, and the salary requirements. Just 30% above the market. Old Ju smiled. Everyone wants to work with you. I nodded. Give 50% more to GAO. Lin Shi, never shortchange my own people. Applause broke out in the conference room. Let's talk. I'll open the projector, I said, and let's look at Shungheng's data. A dense array of numbers and charts flashed across the screen. Old Ju stood up and explained. Shungheng Group specializes in intelligent logistics equipment. Last year it had revenue of 4.7 billion and net profit of 320 million. On the surface it looks fine, but if you break it down, he switched to another chart. Related party transactions account for as much as 35%, with the main related party being 5 shell companies controlled by Chen Rui. In 3 years, these 5 companies cumulatively transferred 230 million out of Shungheng. On paper it is procurement, but in reality, it actually ended up in Chen Rui's pocket. I added, yes, old Ju switches charts. Chen Rui's personal account has deposited 180 million in the past 3 years, all from these 5 companies. In addition, he used Shungheng's shares as collateral to loan 450 million, and the destination of the funds is unclear. Can it be found? I found it. Accountant Wang spoke up. 200 million bought real estate in Sonia, 800 million bought a yacht, the rest all in overseas accounts. Someone in the conference room sucked in a breath. I stared at the numbers on the screen, my mind racing. What about Shungheng's bank liabilities? Short-term liabilities are 800 million, long-term liabilities 1.2 billion, old Ju said. But the most dangerous is the 3-year loan that matures next month. If the bank refuses to renew, Shungheng's cash flow will be cut off. What attitude does the bank have? We've spoken with President Zhong of CCB, lawyer Liu said. They have already decided not to renew the loan because Shungheng's collateral ratio isn't enough, but they haven't notified Chen Rui yet. Why? Because someone is pressuring this matter. Liu said to me, Shenmo's people, I understand. Shenmo has been planning for a long time. So what do we do now? Old Ju asked. I stood up, walked to the whiteboard and drew a timeline. Phase 1. Within 2 weeks, complete the equity acquisition plan for Dinghui. I said as I wrote. Phase 2. Within 1 month, short Shungheng's stock price to force Chen Rui to a margin call. Phase 3. Within 2 months, fully acquire Shungheng shares and become the largest shareholder. What about the 4th phase? Someone asked. I smiled. The 4th phase is to send Chen Rui to prison. The conference room was silent for 2 seconds, then erupted into laughter and applause. President Lin, analyst Zhong, raised his hand. Shorting Shungheng requires a lot of capital. Where will we get the money? Shenmo, come out, I said. 200 million interest-free. Everyone's eyes brightened. But, I changed the subject. He has one condition, we help him take Dinghui first. Dinghui, old Ju frowned. Dinghui is the Shen family's company. The ownership structure is very complex. Shenmo currently holds 18%. His younger brother Shenlin holds 22%. His father Shen Wanshan holds 35%, the rest are circulating shares. So we should help Shen Mo increase holdings to over 40%, I said, acquire the circulating shares and also persuade the minority shareholders to transfer. What about the time? 10 days. The meeting room went quiet. President Lin, acquiring 22% of the freely tradable shares within 10 days would require at least 15 billion in funds and it would push up the stock price. Old Jew wanted to speak but stopped. I know, I said, so we won't buy directly. I switched the projection and a complex schematic appeared on the screen. Use leverage. I pointed to the diagram, set up 5 SPVs, borrow from 5 banks, and then use these funds to acquire Dinghui shares. The 5 SPVs are not related to each other, so the CSRC won't be able to detect common control. What about legal risks? Lawyer Liu asked. Fully compliant, I said. Each loan is fully collateralized, each acquisition is independently disclosed. The only risk is if the stock price crashes, the collateral may be insufficient. Will Dinghui's stock price fall? Old Jew asked. I looked at Analyst Zhong. You judge it. Analyst Zhong pulled up Dinghui's K-line chart. Dinghui's current stock price is 23 yuan. Price-earnings ratio is 15, which is relatively low among peers, but if there is a flurry of acquisitions, the stock price could be driven above 30 yuan. Then push it to 30, I said, and then we cash out a portion at the high level to reduce leverage. But that would alert the tiger, Lao Ju said. Shen Lin would notice. So what if he notices? I smiled. He can't come up with 15 billion to compete. He can only watch us acquire. Someone nods in the meeting room. That's settled. I closed my laptop. Start tomorrow. Old Jew, you're in charge of setting up the SPV. Lawyer Liu, you're in charge of legal documents. Analyst Zhong, you monitor the market. Everyone else, take your positions. Everyone stood up. One more thing. I called after them. What happens today? No one is to say a word about it, not even to Shen Mo. Old Jew froze. Isn't it about what Mr. Shen said? He is the boss but is also a Shen family member. I said, before the equity lands in hand, no one can be trusted. Old Jew nodded. Understood. 3 days later, Dinghui's stock price began to fluctuate. First it rose from 23 to 25. With volume tripling, people in the market started discussing that foreign capital was sweeping in. On the 5th day, the stock price rose to 28 yuan. Shen Lin couldn't sit still and called me. President Lin, this is Shen Lin. The voice on the other end sounded very young. I heard you're handling Dinghui's acquisition. Second young Master Shen is well informed. I said, did my brother ask you to do this? Business secret. I'll double the money for you. Help me take down Dinghui. I smiled. Young Master Shen, the terms your brother offered, you can't fulfill. What condition? He gave me Shengheng. There was a silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds. President Lin, do you know Shengheng has problems? Shen Lin said. Chen Rui's finances are falsified. The CSRC is already watching him. I know, and you still want it, so I want it even more. I said, I want to dismantle it with my own hands. Shen Lin fell silent for a few more seconds, then laughed. President Lin, I admire you, but Dinghui is mine. I won't let it go. Then we'll see who has more money. I hung up the phone. On the 7th day, Dinghui's stock price rose to 31 yuan. Shen Lin began buying on the market, pushing the price up to 33 yuan. Old Jew grew anxious. President Lin, Shen Lin is raiding the buying. Our costs are getting higher and higher. Not in a hurry. I stared at the screen. He won't hold out much longer. His cash flow is tighter than ours. Why? Because his money was borrowed from banks at an 8% interest rate costing hundreds of thousands a day. I said, we're using Shen Mo's interest-free loan. It can kill him. Sure enough, on the 9th day, Shen Lin's funds couldn't keep up. Dinghui's stock price fell back to 30 yuan and we took the opportunity to buy at the close. On the 10th day, the tally was in. Shen Mo's stake increased from 18% to 39%. Becoming the largest shareholder, Shen Lin holds 22%, Shen Wanshan 35%, with only 4% in circulating shares. Shen Mo won. That night he invited me to dinner at a Japanese restaurant on Financial Street. Lin Shi, you had it figured out in 10 days. He raised his glass. I'm impressed. Don't rush, I said without raising my glass. Shengheng is the real tough fight. What do you need? I need Chen Rui to make a mistake, I said. The more anxious he gets, the more mistakes he makes. My phone buzzed. Lao Ju sent a message. Chen Rui is holding an emergency board meeting. He's going to issue more shares. I laughed. What's wrong? Shen Mo asked. Chen Rui wants to issue more shares. I said, he wants to dilute our stake. Can you stop it? No need to stop it. I took a drink. Let him issue. The more he issues, the faster the price will fall. His margin positions will blow up more completely. Shen Mo looked at me with a complicated gaze. Lin Shi, you're really scary. Thanks. I stood up. Tomorrow I'll go meet President Zhong of Construction Bank. I want that 800 million loan to die completely. Do you want me to accompany you? No need. I picked up my bag. I can handle this by myself. Walking out of the Japanese restaurant, the night wind was chilly. My phone buzzed again, a number I didn't recognize. Lin Shi, it's me, Chen Rui. The voice was hoarse, tinged with drunkenness. I didn't speak. I know you're out to get me, he said. But you won't bring me down. I've got people backing me. Who? You guess. He hung up the phone. I stood under the neon lights on Financial Street, looking at the phone screen. Chen Rui, it won't matter who you have backing you, because in 3 months, I will make you kneel before me. Shungheng Group shareholder meeting. At 9 o'clock in the morning, when I walked into the meeting room, everyone was looking at me. Chen Rui sat in the chair with Zhao Xiahe beside her. She wore a Dior suit and a watch that looked worth at least 200,000 yuan. Sitting in what should have been the position of Chief Strategy Officer in 3 months, she had gone from selling cosmetics to becoming a senior executive at Shungheng. The world is really interesting. Lin Shi. Chen Rui frowned. What are you here for? You're not a Shungheng employee anymore. I didn't come as an employee. I sat across from him. I came as a shareholder. Shareholder. He smiled. Do you hold shares? I threw a document onto the table. Dinghui Capital acquired 12% of Shungheng in the secondary market. I said, I am a partner of Dinghui and the voting rights for these shares belong to me. The meeting room exploded. The 3 major shareholders whispered to each other. Some took out their phones to calculate and some people's faces changed color. Chen Rui's face turned pale. Where did you get the money from? Shen Mo lent it to me. I smiled. Didn't you say I'm already useless? A useless person can borrow 20 billion. Guess why? He clenched his fist. Zhao Xiaohe whispered at the side. President Chen, should we call security? Shut up. Chen Rui roared at her. The meeting room fell quiet. There is only one agenda item for today's shareholders meeting. I stood up. To remove Chen Rui from the position of chairman. On what grounds? Chen Rui pounded the table. I threw another document onto the table. Only due to your financial fraud. Lawyer Liu stood up and turned on the projector. On the screen appeared Shungheng's financial statements for nearly 3 years, with the red-marked parts staringly shocking. Shungheng Group falsely inflated revenue by 2 billion and profits by 230 million over the past 3 years. Lawyer Liu's voice was calm. These false figures were used for listing filing and constitute a major information disclosure violation. You're talking nonsense. Chen Rui stood up. My financial statements are audited by an accounting firm. Yes, I said. But the accounting firm was bought off by you too. I looked at the 3rd largest shareholder, Wang Zhongwo. Mr. Wang, did you know that Chen Rui paid the accounting firm 3 times the market rate for the audit? Where did the extra money go? Wang Zhongwo's face changed. Where did it go? It went into Chen Rui's personal account, I said, through 5 shell companies. A cash flow diagram appeared on the screen, as clear as a textbook. Chen Rui has transferred 230 million yuan from Shungheng over 3 years, I said, of which 120 million bought property in Sonia, 80 million bought a yacht, and the rest is in overseas accounts. I have already handed over the purchase contracts for the property and the yacht to the CSRC. Chen Rui slumped in the chair. Also, I continued, Chen Rui used Shungheng's shares as collateral to loan 450 million, of which 150 million was used to hype his own stock, suspected of market manipulation. I have also turned the records of this transaction over to the CSRC. Wang Zhongwo stood up. Chen Rui, is this true? Chen Rui opened his mouth but could not say a word. The 2nd largest shareholder, Mr. Li, also stood up. Chen Rui, you must give us an explanation. Explain what? I laughed. He can't explain anything because everything he did was to hollow out the company. Lin Shi. Chen Rui suddenly shouted. You think you've won? This evidence is fake. I'm going to sue you for defamation. Say it, I said. The CSRC has opened an investigation. You can turn yourself in today and seek lenient treatment. Chen Rui's face turned pale. Zhao Xiaohe stood up and suddenly said, President Lin is right, Chen Rui did indeed do these things. Everyone looked at her. I have evidence. Zhao Xiaohe took a USB drive out of her bag. I kept backups of the transfer records Chen Rui asked me to make. Chen Rui's eyes widened. Zhao Xiaohe, are you crazy? I'm not crazy, Zhao Xiaohe said, looking at me. President Lin, is this evidence enough? I nod. Enough. Chen Rui rushed over to grab the USB drive but was blocked by security. Lin. You're scheming against me. He yelled, you teamed up with this bitch to plot against me. I didn't plot against you, I said. I only left someone by your side. Zhao Xiaohe walked over to my side and stood still. President Chen, I'm sorry, she said. I'm Lin's person from the very beginning. Chen Rui was stunned. The whole room erupted. Wang Zhongwo stood up. I proposed to remove Chen Rui from the position of chairman. Mr. Li raised his hand. Agreed. The other minority shareholders raised their hands one after another. Chen Rui watched the hands raised all around the conference room, his face turning from white to gray. The voting result, announced lawyer Liu. The shareholders holding more than 60% of the shares have agreed to remove him. The motion passes. Chen Rui was escorted out of the meeting room by security. When he reached the door and looked back at me, his eyes were filled with hatred. Lin Shi, you will regret this. I already regret it, I said. I regret marrying you. The door closed, the meeting room fell. Silent for a few seconds, Wang Zhongwo looked at me. President Lin, what do we do now? Now, I stood up, restructure the board, bring in new strategic investors and reset the financials audit. Who will be the new chairman? President Li asked. Everyone looked at me. I won't take it, I said. I recommend Shen Mo, the son of the richest man. Wang Zhongwo frowned. He has no connection to Shengheng. He'll have it soon, I said. Huantan Group will invest 3 billion yuan in Shengheng on the condition of obtaining controlling interest. The conference room fell silent once more. 3 billion yuan for the current Shengheng. It was life-saving money. I agree. Wang Zhongwo raised his hand first. Mr. Li hesitated for a moment and also raised his hand. Unanimously approved. I left the conference room. The corridor was empty. My phone buzzed with a message from Shen Mo. I heard you drove Chen Rui away. I replied. This is only the beginning. Celebrate tonight. No, I want to go see him. See whom? Chen Rui's lawyer. I hung up the phone and stepped into the elevator. The moment the elevator doors closed, I saw Zhao Xiaohe standing in the corridor bowing to me. I nodded in response. She didn't let me down. I told her to do it 3 months ago. Shen Mo found me and said she wanted to help me. I set one condition, place Zhao Xiaohe by Chen Rui's side. Chen Rui thought that he had seduced Zhao Xiaohe, but in fact Zhao Xiaohe had seduced him. Men are always so stupid. For Seasons Hotel Cafe, 3:00 p.m. Chen Rui's lawyer surname is Fang, a well-known commercial lawyer in the industry, charging 8,000 yuan per hour. He sat opposite me, a cup of untouched American coffee in front of him. President Lin, Mr. Chen wants to discuss a settlement with you. A settlement? I laughed. What qualifications does he have to talk to me about a settlement? Mr. Chen is willing to give up all shares in Shengheng on the condition that you retract your report to the Securities Regulatory Commission. Give up the shares. I took a sip of coffee. His shares were pledged to the bank long ago. Net assets are negative. Is that what you call giving up? Lawyer Fang looked grim. Director Lin, why go for a complete kill, Mr. Chen is your ex-husband after all. Ex-husband. I put down the cup. We haven't even divorced. He doesn't dare sign the divorce agreement because once he signs, he'll have nothing left. Then what do you want? I want to put him in prison. Lawyer Fang stood up. There's nothing to talk about. Then, wait a minute, I called after him. You go back and tell Chen Rui that he still has a way out. Voluntarily confess the problem and strive for a lighter punishment. He can get out in about 3 years. 3 years. Lawyer Fang sneered. President Chen won't agree. Then wait to be judged for 10 years. Lawyer Fang left. I sat in the cafe. My phone vibrated. It was message from analyst Zhong. President Lin, Chen Rui is shorting Shengheng stock. What is it? He's shorting through overseas accounts. The scale is about 50 million shares, about 8% of the total share capital. My mind was racing. Is Chen Rui shorting his own company's stock? Is he trying to drive Shengheng's price down, then buy back at a low price to profit from the spread? That's not right. Check his sources of funds. I replied. 10 minutes later, analyst Zhong replied, found it. The funds come from a company in Hong Kong backed by a hedge fund. I understand Chen Rui is shorting Shengheng at the joint hedge fund. He wants to make money from the short to cover his previous losses, but he forgot one thing, the short requires someone to take the other side. I dialed Shen Mo's number. Chen Rui is shorting Shengheng, I said. I want to counter-sniper in the opposite direction. How to do it? We buy a lot, push the stock price up, and cause him to be liquidated. How much money is needed? 100 million. I'll give you 2 billion, Shen Mo said. Smash him. The next day Shengheng's stock opened down 5%. Chen Rui began shorting. At 10 in the morning we started buying 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. The price was pulled from 15 yuan up to 18 yuan. In the afternoon, Chen Rui increased his short position, and the price fell back to 16 yuan on the third day. We continued to buy 500 million, 800 million, 1 billion. The stock price was driven up to 22 yuan. Soon after, some people in the market started following the trend and buying, and the stock price rose even faster on the fourth day. Chen Rui could no longer hold on. His short selling cost was around 17 yuan. Now the price is 22 yuan, and he has already lost 250 million. Lawyer Fang gave me another call. Mr. Lin, Mr. Chen wants to talk to you. About what? He is willing to sign the divorce papers and walk away with nothing. Too late, I said. What I want now is his life. I hung up. On the fifth day Shengheng's stock price rose to 28 yuan. Chen Rui's short positions were liquidated. The broker forcibly closed them and he lost 400 million yuan in one day. His offshore account has been wiped out. His hedge fund partner also lost over 1 billion or so and fled overnight. I sat in Ding Hui's office, staring at Shengheng's candlestick chart on the screen, a smile tugging at the corner of my mouth. Old Ju knocked and came in. President Lin, how much did we make? 300 million, I said, enough to pay Shen Mo's interest. What about Chen Rui? He's at home, I said. My mom just called and said he's smashing things in the villa. What do we do next? Next, I stood up. We'll go see him. Chen Rui's villa, 8 o'clock in the evening. I rang the doorbell. No one answered. I simply pushed the door and went in. The living room was in chaos. The TV was smashed, the sofa overturned, the liquor cabinet toppled, shards of glass everywhere. Chen Rui sat on the stairs, his hair a mess, a wine stain on his shirt. When he saw me come in, he lifted his head, his eyes hollow. Lin Shi, you've won. So where does that get us? I stepped in front of him. You haven't even gone to prison yet. Do you really want me to go to jail? You transferred 230 million in company assets, suspected embezzlement of duties. You faked finances to get listed, suspected securities fraud. You manipulated the stock price, suspected market manipulation. All three add up to at least 10 years. Chen Rui smiled, and it was an ugly smile. Lin Shi, do you know the thing I regret most isn't having done these things? What is it? Is to marry you. I crouched down and looked into his eyes. Chen Rui, what you will regret the most is that you shouldn't have publicly humiliated me. Why? At least if you don't do that, I will quietly sign the divorce papers, take the shares I deserve and vanish forever. But you insist on shaming me in public. You insist on turning me into the joke of the whole audience. I stood up. Do you know what happens to a woman who is publicly humiliated? He didn't answer. She becomes a demon. I turned and walked away. Behind me came his cries like a child. I didn't look back when Chen's mother called. I was looking at Shengheng's restructuring plan. Lin Shi, your dad is in the hospital. The voice on the other end was urgent. My dad? I was taken aback. Which dad? Chen Rui's dad, your father-in-law. Chen's mother cried. He had a heart attack. They're rushing him to the hospital. Please come quick and take a look. I hesitated for 2 seconds. Which hospital? Renai Hospital, cardiac surgery. Renai Hospital VIP ward. 9 o'clock at night. Father Chen lies on the bed, his face pale as wax, tubes inserted all over his body. Mother Chen sits at the bedside crying. Chen Rui stands by the window with his back to everyone. I push the door open and Mother Chen rushes over. Lin Shi, you're here. Please persuade Chen Rui to stop making trouble. I'm not making a scene. Chen Rui turned around, eyes red and swollen. She's the one making a scene. Am I creating a scene? I laughed. Chen Rui, you're the one shifting company assets. You're the one falsifying finances. You're the one manipulating the stock price, and you tell me I'm making a scene. Enough. Father Chen suddenly roared, then began to cough violently. Chen's mother quickly patted his back. Mr. Chen took a few gasps, looking at me. Lin Shi, I'm begging you, please let Chen Rui go. He was momentarily confused. Dad, I said, it wasn't a momentary lapse. He started transferring assets 3 years ago. Back then the company hadn't gone public yet, and he was already undermining it for himself. Mr. Chen froze and looked at Chen Rui. Really? Chen Rui said nothing. Speak up, Father Chen shouted. So what if I do? Chen Rui suddenly burst out. That money was originally mine. I founded the company. I was the one who deserves the credit for going public. Why should she take half your credit? I walked up to him. When the company was in debt of 50 million, who helped you attract investment? When financing hit a wall, who helped draft the plan? When rivals maliciously attempted to acquire us, who fought the battles? That was you. Chen Rui sneered. But you also earned. Your salary is higher than mine. The car you drive is better than mine. What else do you want? What do I want to do? I take a deep breath. Chen Rui, do you know what hurts me the most? He didn't speak. It was you who made me sign that dismissal letter. And you didn't even bother to look at me. The ward grew quiet. Mrs. Chen started crying again. Father Chen closed his eyes and 2 lines of tears streamed down. Chen Rui, Father Chen said, return the company to Lin Shi. You should surrender yourself. Dad, go surrender. After shouting, Father Chen broke into another fit of severe coughing. The monitor starts alarming and the nurse rushes in. Family members, please leave first. The nurse pushes us outward in the corridor. Chen Rui stands against the wall, head lowered. Lin Shi, he suddenly says, is my father's medical record in your hands? I froze. What medical records? Don't pretend. He looked up at me. My mom said you took my dad's medical records to coerce me. I didn't. Where are those medical records? I don't know. Chen Rui stared at me for 5 seconds, then laughed. Lin Shi, you're ruthless. You've even used my father. I told you I didn't. How could the medical records be lost? He yelled. My father's condition has been deteriorating. The doctors say he needs to be transferred to Beijing, but the records are gone, so it can't be transferred. My mind is racing. Whose medical record is this? Suddenly I remembered someone. Zhao Xiaohe, I said. She took it. Chen Rui was stunned. Why does she want to take it? Because she is mine, I said. But I don't know about the medical records. I didn't let her take it. You think I will believe it? Believe it or not, it's up to you. I turned to walk away. Lin Shi, Chen Rui called to stop me. If something happens to my dad, I won't spare you. I stopped in my tracks and turned to look at him. Chen Rui, listen carefully. Your dad's illness has nothing to do with me, but if you threaten me again, I'll make sure you don't even have the chance to see him again. His face changed color. I stepped into the elevator doors closed. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. The phone vibrated with a message from Zhao Xiaohe. Captain Lin, the medical records are in my hands. Chen Rui owes the hospital 3 million in medical fees and the hospital won't release the records. I covered it, so the records are with me. I replied, return the medical records to the hospital. Okay, also, Captain Lin, Chen Rui is moving assets. He transferred the house in Sonia to his mother and sold the yacht to a company in Hong Kong. Is there evidence? Yes, I have the contract and transfer records. Send them to me. 3 minutes later, the files were forwarded. I opened them and read them clearly. Each one. Chen Rui, you don't want even the last chance anymore. The Economic Crime Investigation Brigade of the Public Security Bureau. 10 a.m. I handed over all evidence of Chen Rui transferring assets, bribery, and embezzling funds to the Economic Crime Division. Captain Zhu, who was handling the case, after reading the materials, looked up at me and said, Ms. Lin, how did you obtain these pieces of evidence? Commercial investigation, I said. Legal channels. Captain Zhu nodded. We will file a case for investigation. Please keep your phone reachable during this period. Will Chen Rui be arrested? If the evidence is genuine, yes. I walked out of the police station. The sunshine was blinding. My phone vibrated. It was Shen Mo. I heard you went to the Economic Investigation Department. Yes. How long will Chen Rui be sentenced? More than 10 years. There was a silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds. Lin Shi, are you regretful? Regret what? Marrying him, I thought. Regret, but I regret not waking up sooner even more. I hung up. 3 days later, Chen Rui was arrested at the airport. He had bought a ticket to Hong Kong, planning to run away, but the financial investigators had been waiting at the airport. When I received the news, Ding Hui was holding a board meeting. Lao Ju walked in and whispered a few words to me. I nodded and continued the meeting. President Lin, aren't you surprised? Lao Ju asked me after the meeting. I'm not surprised, I said. I knew a long time ago that he would run, so you're not excited? Not excited, I swallowed. This is just the procedure, the real battle hasn't begun yet. Not begun yet. Chen Rui has already been captured. He was captured simply because he broke the law, I said. But Shunheng isn't in hand yet, his shares are still there, his assets are still being moved, his lawyers are still active. And what do you plan to do? Wait, I said. Wait for him to beg me. Chen Rui called me from the detention center on the third day. Lin Shi, I was wrong. The voice was hoarse with a quaver. I didn't speak. I beg you, drop the lawsuit, I'll give you whatever you want. I want to be Shunheng. I'll give you all of it, shares, property, cars, all of it to you. What else? And what else? I want you in front of everyone to admit that you are a fraud. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. All right, I promise you, words aren't proof, I said. I'll have the lawyer bring the agreement over for you to sign. Okay. I hung up. Shen Mo listened to the whole thing from the side. He'll back out, I know, I said, so I don't trust him. Then why did you still make him sign the agreement? Because by signing the agreement he admits he transferred the assets. That agreement is evidence in court. Shen Mo smiled. Lin Shi, you're really terrifying. Thank you for the compliment. The lawyer returned from the detention center and Chen Rui signed the agreement. I opened it and saw that each page bore his signature and thumbprint. Did he make any demands? I asked the lawyer. He said he would like to see you once. When? At any time. Then now, detention center visitation room, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Chen Rui wore an orange vest, shaved his head and had become much thinner with hollow eyes. When he saw me his eye sockets reddened. Lin Shi, I'm sorry for you. Don't pretend. I sat down. What did you call me here for? I want to tell you something. He lowered his voice. Shen Mo is not a good person. I laughed. Whether he's good or bad doesn't matter to me. It matters, Chen Rui said. He approached you with a purpose. What is the purpose? He wants your resources, Chen Rui said. Your connections, your abilities, your cases. Once he's used you up, he'll kick you out. How do you know? Because he did the same thing before, Chen Rui said. His previous partner Wang Xiu, who was also a woman, helped him finish the project and then got kicked out. Now that woman is bankrupt, hiding overseas to avoid her debts. I stared at Chen Rui for 5 seconds. You done? I'm done. Then I'll leave. Lin Shi, he called to me. Do you not believe me? I don't know if you believe it or not. I stood up. What matters is that you are a liar. No one will believe a liar. Walk out of the meeting room. I stood in the corridor and pulled out my phone. Search for Wang Xiu. First news. Wang Xiu suspected of fraud and overseers. Involved amount 500 million. Second news. Wang Xiu was once Shen Mo's partner. The two parted ways due to. Third news. Wang Xiu case opens in court. Shen Mo testifies in court. I switch off my phone. Chen Rui wants to sow discord, but what he says may not be false. The Four Seasons Hotel, Hong Kong, 8:00 p.m. Shen Mo asked me to meet here, saying we would discuss Shunheng's next step. I arrived early and waited in the hotel lobby. A woman in a red dress walked over and sat down opposite me. Lin Shi, she asked. I looked up and when I recognized her face, my heart skipped a beat. Wang Xiu, how are you here? I asked. Shen Mo told me to come. She smiled. He said you want to see me. I didn't want to see you, but you saw the news, didn't you? She lit a cigarette. Chen Rui told you about me. I did not deny it. He's not wrong. Wang Xiu spit out a mouthful of smoke. Shen Mo kicked me out after using me up. That 500 million shortfall, half of it was caused by him. But he pushed all the responsibility onto me. Then why don't you expose him? Because I have no evidence. She smiled wryly. He does things cleanly, leaving no traces, unlike Chen Rui, who is stupid enough to keep all the transfer records. Then you came today just to tell me these things, right? She stubbed out her cigarette. I want to remind you not to follow my old path. She stood up and walked away. I sat on the sofa, my mind in turmoil. Shen Mo arrived, wearing a black suit and looking very well. Been waiting long. He sat down. No, I said, I just got here. Then let's get down to business. He took a document out of his briefcase. This is the comprehensive takeover plan for Shunheng. We need to invest another 3 billion to obtain absolute controlling interest. I opened the document. The numbers were densely packed. So where did the funds come from? Huoteng Group contributed 2 billion, Dinghui contributed 1 billion. Where did Dinghui's 1 billion come from? Bank loan. I closed the file. Shen Mo, tell me the truth. What is Dinghui's real financial situation? He froze for a moment. What do you mean? I checked Dinghui's financial statements, I said. The profit has fallen 40% over the past 3 years, the debt ratio is 65% and cash flow is negative. You don't have 1 billion at all. His face changed color. You're investigating me. You asked me to help you take down Dinghui. I have to know whether this company is worth it. What did you find out? I found out why your brother Shun Lin dares to compete with you for Dinghui, I said, because he knows Dinghui is about to fail. He's competing with you to make you take over. What is it? Shenmo widened his eyes. Are you crazy? Huanteng's market value is 500 billion. Where do we get the money? We don't have money, but some people do. Who? Your dad. Shenmo froze. Your dad holds 35% of Huateng, worth 1,750 billion. I said, if he's willing to mortgage these shares to us, we can get the money. What right does my dad have to mortgage them to us? Because of you, I said. You're his son. If you tell him you want to acquire Huateng, he'll back you. Shenmo stared at me for 10 seconds. Linshi, what exactly do you want to do? I want to make a big move. I smiled. Shengheng is too small, not worth playing. If I'm going to play, I'll play big. What big? I want to merge Huateng, Dinghui, and Shengheng into a single entity, creating a supergroup with a market value of 800 billion. Shenmo sucked in a cold breath. Are you crazy? I'm not crazy. I opened my phone and pulled up a picture. This is the merger plan. The 3 companies' businesses are complementary. After the merger, costs can be cut by 30% and revenue can double. The capital market will give a premium. The valuation will be at least 800 billion. Shenmo looked at the picture, his eyes lighting up more and more. When did you come up with this? Last night, I said. I couldn't sleep, so I drew a diagram. Linshi, you're a genius. I'm not a genius. I shook my head. I'm just a woman who has been humiliated. We talked all night, refining the plan down to every single number. At 4 in the morning, Shenmo leaned against the sofa, his eyes reddened. Linshi, if we succeed, you will become the richest woman. I don't care, I said. I just want Chen Rui to know who he lost to. He already knows. Not enough yet. I stood up. I want the whole world to know. Having left the hotel, dawn was breaking. The phone vibrated. It was the lawyer's message. Chen Rui's trial is next month. The prosecutor's office recommends a 12-year sentence. I replied. Let him be sentenced to 12 years. Mr. Lin, Chen Rui's lawyer, wants to talk to you about a settlement. The terms are very generous. No settlement, but he's willing to pay 50 million in compensation. I'm not short of money. What are you lacking? After some thought, you need an apology in front of everyone. Shenzhen Stock Exchange, 9:30 in the morning. Shengheng Group resumed trading after a 1-month suspension, and the stock price hit the limit down directly. Shenmo and I stood in front of the screens in the trading hall watching the green numbers. Limit down, Shenmo said. Our unrealized losses are 200 million. No rush, I said. It will bounce back this afternoon. How? Do you know? Because I let someone release a message. What news? Huateng is going to acquire Shengheng. Shenmo froze. Isn't that just a rumor? It's a rumor now, I said. But next month it'll be true. Are you sure? Confirmed. I opened my phone and pulled up a document. Your father has already agreed to mortgage his shares. Shenmo took the phone and looked at it 3 times. Linshi, how did you manage to persuade my dad in the end? I gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. I laughed. I said, if you don't support us, I'll report your tax evasion from back then to the tax bureau. Shenmo's expression changed. You investigated my dad. I checked everyone. I said, including you. What did you find out about me? You're good, I said. No criminal record, no tax evasion, no asset transfers. You're a clean person. Shenmo breathed a sigh of relief. Then why did you check me? Because I need to know whether I can trust you. And what happened? The answer is yes, I said. But only in terms of cooperation. Only cooperation. He frowned. What about feelings? Feelings are a different matter. I looked at the screen. Now it's business. At 1:00 p.m. Shengheng's stock price broke through the limit down and started to rise. At 1:30 p.m. it was up 5%. 2 points, a 10% rise, closing at 3 points. Shengheng's stock price rose 15%, with trading volume hitting a record. Old Jew called. President Lin, we made 300 million. Cash out half, I said. Bring the leverage down. Understood. Hanging up the phone, Shenmo looked at me. You earned 300 million and you're not a bit excited. Excited, I said. But what I want isn't money. Then what do you want? I want Chen Rui to say it in court with his own mouth. I lost. 3 days later, a press conference. I stood on the stage, with more than 200 media members seated below. Today, I announce 3 things, I said. First, Dinghui Capital has officially acquired Shengheng Group for a deal worth 47 billion. The flashbulbs went off in a shower. Second, Huateng Group will invest 100 billion into the new company, becoming a strategic investor. There was a sharp intake of breath from the audience. Third, I paused. The new company will be renamed the Lin Group. A reporter raised his hand. Mr. Lin, why is it called the Lin Group? Because this is my company, I said. Not Chen Rui's, not Shen Mo's, mine. Thunderous applause from the audience. Shen Mo sits in the audience looking at me with a complex gaze. When the press conference ended, he walked over. Lin Shi, you just said not Shen Mo's. What do you mean? Literally speaking, I said. The company is mine, you are just a partner. I thought we were equal. We are equal, I said. But equality does not mean sameness. I built this company, so I have the final say. Shen Mo remained silent for a few seconds, then smiled. Lin Shi, I like you more and more. Don't like me. I pick up my bag. Those who like me end up losing in the end. The courtroom hearings. 9:00 in the morning. Chen Rui stands on the defendant's bench wearing an orange vest, his hair all white. The spectator gallery is filled with people, reporters, lawyers, businesspeople, and Chen's mother. She has been crying the whole time. I sat in the front row of the spectators gallery beside Shen Mo. The prosecutor read the indictment: embezzlement in performance of official duties, fraudulent issuance, market manipulation, and bribe-taking, 4 charges involving 230 million yuan with a suggested sentence of 12 to 15 years. Defendant Chen Rui, do you plead guilty? The judge asked. Chen Rui raised his head, looked toward the spectators, then looked at me. I plead guilty, he said. But I have something to say. Speak. Lin, she knows all the things I've done. The whole courtroom fell silent. She knew from the beginning that I moved the assets, but she didn't stop me, Chen Rui said. Because she was waiting for this day, waiting for me to get into trouble so she could take everything. The judge looked at me. Witness Lin Shi, please come to the witness stand. I stood up and walked to the witness stand. Ms. Lin Shi, the defendant claims that you withheld information. Is that true? False, I said. I have evidence that he moved assets. I only discovered it after the divorce. The lawyer presented the evidence. Chen Rui sneered. You're lying. Those pieces of evidence are all faked by you. No matter true or false, a verification will show it, I said. Chen Rui, you claim I was in the know. Then tell me, how did I know? When did I know? What did I do after I knew? Chen Rui was speechless. Can't say it out loud. I looked at him. Because you can't make it up. The judge pounded the gavel. Defendant Chen Rui, please maintain your silence. Chen Rui lowered his head. Now the witness Zhao Xiaohe, please come to the stand. Zhao Xiaohe stood up from the spectator seating and walked to the witness stand. Ms. Zhao Xiaohe, you used to be Chen Rui's chief assistant, correct? Yes, did you know about Chen Rui transferring his assets? Understood, Zhao Xiaohe said. And I have all the evidence in my possession. She handed the USB drive to the bailiff. Chen Rui roared. Zhao Xiaohe, you bitch. Silence. The judge pounded the gavel. Zhao Xiaohe continued. Chen Rui not only shifted assets but also bribed. He gave the bank president 3 million in exchange for an 800 million loan. The whole room erupted. He also manipulated the stock price, Zhao Xiaohe said, jointly with Hong Kong-based hedge funds to short their own stock, causing the company to lose 400 million. Chen Rui lay paralyzed on the defendant's bench. Enough, the judge said. Defendant Chen Rui, do you have anything else to say? Chen Rui raised his head and looked at me. Lin Shi, I lost. The whole courtroom fell silent. Say that again, I said. I lost, he said. I lost completely. I stood up. Chen Rui, listen closely. You didn't lose to me, you lost to yourself. If you hadn't been greedy, vain, and humiliated me in public, you wouldn't have come to this. He cried. I didn't look at her again and turned to leave the courtroom. In the corridor, the sunlight was blinding. Shen Mo rushed out after me. Lin Shi, are you okay? I'm fine, I said. It's finally over. It's not over, he said. There's one more thing. What is it? About marrying you. I looked at him. Shen Mo, I told you don't like me. I insist. He knelt on one knee, pulled out a small box from his pocket, opened it, and inside was a diamond ring. Lin Shi, marry me. Everyone in the corridor stopped and looked at us. I laughed. Shen Mo, get up. If you don't agree, I won't get up. Then I won't agree either, I said, because I want to marry you, not you marry me. He froze. I want to be the one who says I do, I said. I want to be the one who takes charge. I will never again let anyone control my life. Shinmo stood up, looked at me and smiled. All right, then marry me. What about the betrothal gift? 5 billion, he said. Is that enough? Enough. I reached out my hand. Deal. He took my hand. Lin Shi, you really don't look like a woman at all. Thank you, I said. This is the greatest compliment to me. Asset auction, 10 o'clock in the morning. All assets under Chen Rui's name have been frozen by the court and put up for public auction. The villa in Sonia, the yacht, the luxury cars, and the shares have all been put on the shelves for sale. I sat in the front row with Shinmo beside me. Which one do you want? He asked. I said, all of it. Are you crazy? Those things add up to 200 million. So I'll pay only 1 yuan. 1 yuan. Yes, I smiled. Because these assets are all stolen goods, the court is just going through the motions. The real buyer is only me. The auctioneer stepped onto the stage. Item 1, a villa in Sonia, starting bid 50 million. No one raised a paddle. 50 million, anyone bidding? I raise my hand. 1 yuan. The whole courtroom fell silent. The auctioneer was stunned. Ms. Lin, the starting bid is 50 million. But Chen Rui owes me 50 million, I said. Among the assets he transferred there is my money. So these assets should be used to compensate me first. I bid 1 yuan, representing my acceptance of settlement in kind. The lawyer stood up. Ms. Lin is right. According to the law, victims have the right to priority compensation. The auctioneer looks at the judge nods. Sold for 1 yuan. Second item, the yacht, starting bid 80 million. I raised my hand. 1 yuan. Sold. The third item, shares, starting bid 120 million. I raised my hand. 1 yuan. Done. The 3 items together, 3 yuan. The whole house applauded. Shinmo smiled beside him. Lin Shi, you really are a genius. I'm not a genius, I said. The law protects the victims. Afternoon, the detention center visiting room. Chen Rui wore an orange vest. His hair had gone even whiter, making him look 10 years older. Your assets have all been auctioned off. I said, I know, he said, head lowered. My mother called to tell me. Do you have anything else to say? Yes. He looked up. I want to see the child. No. Why? Because you don't deserve to, he cried. Lin Shi, I know I was wrong, but please, I beg you, let me see the child. Come out and we'll talk. I stood up. 12 years will pass quickly. Lin Shi, I'll be back. Can I ask you for one thing? Speak. Take care of my mom for me. I'll take care of your mother, I said, but not because of you, because she's been nicer to me. I walked out of the meeting room. In the hallway, Chen's mother stood there, her eyes swollen from crying. Lin Shi, thank you. You're welcome, I said. I just did what needed to be done. Chen Rui, will he really be sentenced to 12 years? The procuratorate suggests 12 years. The judge will most likely adopt it. Chen's mother cried again. I sighed. Auntie, I will help you hire a lawyer for an appeal, but the result won't change much. I know, Chen's mother said, grabbing my hand. Lin Shi, our Chen family owes you a debt. Nobody is owed by anyone, I said. It's all about choices. 1 month later, the court delivered its verdict. Chen Rui was sentenced to 12 years, fined 5 million yuan. He stated in court that he would not appeal. I sat in the spectator seating, watching him be led away by the bailiffs. He walked to the door and glanced back at me. There is no hatred in his eyes, only resignation. I stood up and walked out of the courtroom. The sunshine is warm. Shenmo is waiting for me outside. Is it over? It's over. What's next? Next, I said. Make Lin Group the #1 in the industry. And then, that's all. Lin Shi, he suddenly said, I love you. I looked at him. Shenmo, did you take the wrong medicine today? No, he said seriously. I am serious. I was silent for a few seconds. Shenmo, I'm not sure I can love someone else again. It doesn't matter, he said. I can wait. How long will you wait? Until the day you decide. I laughed. Let's go, I said. To the company. Why go to the company? To make money, I said. Love cannot feed you, but money can. Shenzhen Stock Exchange, 9 o'clock in the morning. Lin Group. I am wearing a red suit, standing on stage with Shenmo, Laoju, attorney Liu, Zhao Xiaohe, and all the teams who have fought the world with me behind me. The audience is packed with people, reporters, investors, business leaders, and my mother. She is holding my son, smiling from ear to ear. President Lin, the time has come, the host reminded. I lift the gavel and strike the bronze bell. Dong. The bells rang through the hall and the applause thundered. Numbers flashed on the big screen. Lin Group stock code 300888. Opening price 88 yuan, up 20%. Market capitalization 1.2 trillion yuan. I have become the youngest female billionaire in China. Now please welcome Ms. Lin Shi, chairwoman of Lin Group, to deliver her speech. I walked to the microphone and looked at the audience. 3 years ago I was a full-time housewife spinning around my husband and children every day. 3 months ago at my husband's listing celebration I was dismissed publicly. The audience fell silent. That night I thought my life was over, but when I woke up the next morning I realized my life had only just begun. Applause. Today I stand here not because of luck, not because someone helped me, it's because I never gave up on myself. The applause grew louder. I want to thank one person. I looked at Shen Mo. Shen Mo, thank you for reaching out when I was at my lowest. Shen Mo stood up and nodded at me. But I want to thank another person more, I said. Chen Rui. Someone in the audience drew in a cold breath. Thank you for publicly humiliating me. Thank you for letting me see clearly what kind of person I am marrying. Thank you for helping me understand that a woman cannot rely on anyone but herself. The applause broke out thunderously. Finally, I want to say one word to all women: do not fear being abandoned, because being abandoned is the beginning of your rebirth. Someone in the audience cried. I walked down and Shen Mo stepped forward. Lin Shi, you spoke so well. Just the truth, I said. By the way, you still intend to marry me, right? He froze. To marry, of course I intend to marry. Well then, I said, I will marry you. Ha, literally. I laughed. I marry you, not you marry me. I'll handle the wedding, I'll buy the wedding house, I'll cover the betrothal gifts. You only need to show up. Shen Mo widened his eyes. Lin Shi, are you marrying a husband or a vase? A vase, I said, as long as it's good looking. He laughed, a helpless laugh. Okay, marry me. Be good. I patted his cheek. From now on, sticking with President Lin, you won't be treated badly. The wedding was held in Bali. 3 days later, I wore a white suit. Shen Mo wore a white suit. We stood together like two grooms. Miss Lin Shi, would you be willing to marry Mr. Shen Mo as your husband? The host asked. I am willing. Mr. Shen Mo, would you be willing to marry Miss Lin Shi as your wife? Shen Mo looked at me, his eyes gleaming. Old Jew raised his cup. To President Lin. Everyone raised their cups. To President Lin. I hugged Shen Mo's waist and faced everyone. From today the Lin Group will be renamed the Linshan Group. Why? Shen Mo asked. Because of your name you must be behind me. He laughed. Lin Shi, you're really too domineering. Domineering is correct, I said. Because I'm the president. 3 months later, Chen Rui received a newspaper in prison headline. Lin Group's market value surpasses 200 billion. Lin Shi becomes China's richest woman. He looked at it for a long time, then folded the newspaper and put it in his pocket. A fellow inmate in the same cell asked, do you know her? Know her, he said. She is my ex-wife. Then why are you here? Because I was blind. He lay back down on the bed and closed his eyes. His mind was full of the images from that night, him standing on the stage, her standing below. He humiliated her in public. She didn't say a word. If that night he had made a different choice, what would things be like now? He didn't know. He only knew that everything was too late. The end.